Amelia Warner breaks her silence. The truth behind Jamie-Dakota's relationship. Jamie Dornan got his first text one autumn morning. He was drinking coffee at a small cafe in London's Camden district, his favorite place to go when he needed a break from the hustle and bustle of public life. The phone rang. "Dude, someone just took a picture of you and Dakota Johnson at the airport. They say you're together," his manager's voice echoed from the other side of the screen. Jamie felt a lump in his throat. He looked up at the cafe's glass door. Outside, a light rain was falling. "It doesn't mean anything to be together," he muttered to himself. But he knew one thing for sure. Once the rumor spread, it would be hard to stop. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Dakota Johnson was preparing for a commercial shoot. She turned on the radio to listen to entertainment news, and overheard, "Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson, are they in a secret relationship?" She bowed her head, her heart pounding. She knew she had to keep quiet. Anything that was revealed too quickly would only fuel the rumors. But inside, there was a sense of confusion. If there really was more to Jamie than friendship, would anyone understand? Would anyone believe? The Sound of the Heart. They first met at a charity film premiere in London. Dakota was the guest of honor, Jamie was there to support. When the flashbulbs went off, they glanced at each other across the crowd, then slowly started talking. Dakota could hear her heart pounding as Jamie talked about music. He had just collaborated on a soundtrack project, and Dakota loved soundtracks. They laughed, shared memories of the streets where they grew up, of old houses, of unfulfilled dreams. After that night, they continued to keep in touch, texting, calling, occasionally sending each other songs, unfinished lyrics. But neither of them said anything publicly. They wanted to keep that feeling to themselves, like a delicate and fragile flower in the dark. Gradually, the press began to dissect their every glance, every smile when they appeared together. They were scrutinized, going to dinner, driving home together, sitting next to each other at events, all became evidence. But both refused to comment. "We are friends," Dakota replied in an interview. Jamie just smiled and changed the subject. But fans did not accept that. They wanted recognition, a confirmation of romantic love. And like a smoldering furnace, the rumors gradually flared up, spreading throughout the entertainment press. Amelia Warner, the keeper of the truth. Amelia Warner, Jamie Dornan's ex-wife, still maintains a good relationship with him, even though the two quietly broke up a few years ago. She is the mother of Jamie's children, and both want to keep the peace at home despite the changes in their lives. Amelia is a private person, rarely appearing in public. But she has a firm belief, if there is true love between Jamie and Dakota, she will know it best, no one else. On a windy London afternoon, Amelia receives an invitation to participate in a TV talk show on the topic of celebrity relationships, secrets and truths. The host invites guests to discuss the rumors between Jamie and Dakota. As the recording takes place, the spotlight is on her face. Viewers ask, "Amelia, is Jamie really in love with Dakota Johnson?" The reporter's voice is gentle, but behind it is a pressing curiosity. Amelia pauses. She looks deeply into the lens. "I'll say this once, so everyone knows. I loved Jamie, and I know how he loved. I'm not speaking up to cause trouble, but I'm not being stupid. If there's anything between Jamie and Dakota, I'll tell you the truth. No rumors, no lies." The audience murmured. The camera panned to the elusive expression of Dakota, also in the studio as a guest. She sat there quietly, arms crossed, eyes distant. She knew she'd be put in a position where she had to choose whether to speak or not. Amelia continued, "I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't take sides, but I have some things that only the insiders know. And if the time comes, I'll say them, so no one will ever doubt them. The words were like a needle piercing the seductive realm of gossip. All eyes turned to Dakota, then to Jamie, who sat across the stage, her eyes hidden in the darkness. The forgotten letters. After that talk show, the public was in an uproar. The media demanded Amelia to reveal it, Dakota was constantly questioned, Jamie was also hounded by the press. But Amelia kept quiet for a few more days. In a room filled with mementos of the past, Amelia opened an old wooden box. Inside were handwritten letters, songs, faded pictures. There was one letter, from Dakota to Jamie, that Amelia knew her former manager had sent her for safekeeping. It was a letter that no one but the sender and the recipient could read. She hugged the letter, feeling a weight on her shoulders. Amelia wrote a small note, "If it's true, it'll be told as it is." Then she decided, in the next 48 hours, she would share a part of the truth, enough to keep the press from twisting it, but also not to break hearts. When she walked into the press conference, reporters were swarming like a swarm of bees. The flashbulbs continued to flash. Amelia stood in the middle of the stage, in front of the microphone, her gaze determined. "One last time," she said, her voice echoing. "I'll tell you what I know, no more, no less." She held up the letter, for everyone to see. The handwriting was scribbled, the time stamps were yellowing. "This is a letter from Dakota to Jamie from the spring of last year, during one of her tours in Europe." In it, Dakota wrote that she missed Jamie, missed the afternoons they spent listening to music together, and she wondered, if possible, if she wanted him to enter a serious relationship. The room was silent. However, Amelia continued, "Jamie didn't respond to that letter right away. He hesitated, for fear of hurting others, for fear of public pressure. But in the end, he wrote back, accepting Dakota's feelings, but on one condition: they both had to keep it a secret, slowly, so that their feelings wouldn't be disturbed by gossip." A whisper spread, "So they really have feelings?" The host tried to calm down and asked, "Do you have any other evidence, miss?" Amelia nodded, climbed onto the table, and pulled up a screen of photos she had secretly taken, but for the purpose of preserving, Jamie and Dakota walking at night, sitting together on the steps of an old library, Dakota resting his head on Jamie's shoulder, his eyes dreamy. The photos didn't show their faces completely, but enough for the viewer to feel the intimacy. "I kept these photos not to cause a scandal," Amelia said, "but so that if anyone asked, I could say, I know, not guess." She looked into Dakota's eyes, then Jamie's. "That love is real. I know it, and I hope that both of them can live as themselves." Late night conversation. After the press conference, Jamie and Dakota were invited to an underground music studio, where Amelia had made an appointment. There was no media, just warm lights, an old saxophone, a piano, and 3 chairs in the quiet space. Amelia stood between the two, behind a dim screen showing the published images. Soft music played. It was the song Dakota had sent Jamie via text message. The lyrics were emotional and full of hidden meanings. Amelia spoke up, "I've told the truth that I know. Now, I want to hear from you." She looked at Jamie first. Jamie took a deep breath. "Amelia, thank you for defending our own views. Dakota and I did have feelings for each other, for a long time. But I was afraid. I was afraid of being unfair to anyone. I was afraid of public opinion ruining our relationship." He turned to Dakota. "When did you know that?" Dakota looked down, then up. "When I received the letter from our music, when the melodies led me to the image of you in my mind. I felt you not show it, but I believe, if we were meant to, we would say it." Jamie took Dakota's hand. "I used the time to protect both of us, to not hurt her, the wonderful woman who was my wife, and my children. I will not hide it anymore. A tear fell from Amelia's eyes. The truth had been released. She smiled, not because of victory, but because of transparency, because love does not need to be hidden. Behind the lights, the heart is no longer lonely. The news spread like wildfire. Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson had officially admitted their feelings, witnessed by Amelia Warner, friend, mother, and silent protector. We love each other, but not perfectly, they said. We will overcome all the scandal to be ourselves. The press published pictures of the recording session, pictures of them laughing, holding hands, working together on a music project. Fans were delighted, and those who had been skeptical gradually accepted. In their eyes, that love was no longer a game of reporters' hands, but a story of two people who truly touched each other through music, through confidences, through hidden letters. Amelia continued to live quietly, but no less strongly. She held a special place in this story, not as a troublemaker, not as an obstacle, but as someone who understood deeply and preserved the truth. Jamie and Dakota occasionally sought her out as a friend, as someone who understood the source of emotions. One fateful evening, the three of them sat looking out the window overlooking the Thames, the city lights twinkling. Dakota leaned on Jamie's shoulder, and Amelia sat on the edge, her hands on their shoulders. A gentle breeze carried the sound of falling leaves. In the moment of resolution, no more answers were needed, because the truth had been told and love lived on.